Welcome to Sips and Side Quest, an adventure-themed podcast series where we quest to quench our thirst for knowledge. If you're new to the show, there are a few things to know. The episodes are dressed up to be their own fantasy game-inspired verbal adventures. Each segment takes place within a fictional town or the surrounding areas, and much like any great expedition, the topics of our discussions may range far and wide. I'm your host, Aaron.
And I'm your co-host, Troy. Thanks for being here with us for episode number 006. We're pretty far into season 1 here. That's kind of crazy. Don't forget, new episodes. They're currently coming out every single Thursday morning on most major streaming platforms and all the minor ones. We have a whole website you can go to. There's like a dozen different options you can click. It'll take you right to the page. There's really no reason not to be listening to new episodes if you've listened to previous episodes, right? But I digress. Last week we had a tavern bounty board task that I had given you. That was to explore a new business, new to you, a business that's new to you, that's near you. It wasn't phrased quite that crazily, but that's what it was. Just explore a business you've never been to, basically. So if you did that, great job. Ton of experience for that. You do get some extra experience, like I said, if it was a local business. Let us know in the comments, where did you go? Did you buy anything? What was the experience like? Yeah, that is a job well done. Today's adventure, getting back to that, though, it is pretty much an entire mystery to me. Darren has withheld pretty much everything that we're going to be doing this episode. So, Darren, can you give us some kind of information as to what we're going to be getting into here?
Yeah, and there's a good reason for that, Troy, because you'll need to keep your wits about you, as today's episode theme is deception. First, we'll share some sips and tall tales to start you off. Play along in a high-stakes game of chance with our Tavern Tales segment. Soon after, our journey will take us to the village board, where flyers for help are aplenty and adventure harkens. To wrap it all up in a nice bow, we talk about something insidious that's likely hiding in the woods. All this and more on today's episode. But first, Troy, can you describe the hat you're wearing?
The hat that I'm wearing right now, yes. It is one of those lumberjack hats, right? It's brown. It's got like the white fur. I don't think it's real fur. It's like faux fur. And then it's got the little flaps that go over your ears. Surprisingly, though, the flaps are not brown. Those are going to be, they're like a red, sort of like plaid. Like a cloth material. It's much softer. It's almost leathery, the brown part of it. But it's weird that I'd be wearing this because I think it was in the 70s here today. But fashion is stylish. Fashion is what fashion does. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a great hat. A real nice looking hat. My hat, it would make Yankee Doodle jealous. The brim makes it tough to go through doorways. Think musketeer hat, long plume feather, real Puss in Boots type fashion.
Okay. Why do you have that on today? Any specific reason?
I don't know. Maybe my head gets cold. But thanks for sharing. The scene has been set and the drinks are poured. Troy, what are you sipping on?
That's a great question. I am not going to say it, that I had a feeling you would ask, but I did have that feeling. Anyway, I said the thing. Yeah, I did the thing. We're going to have to stop doing that here soon. But anyway, getting into my drink here. Yeah, so I actually have recently decided that the entirety of this first season 1, it's going to be all pale ales, right? And early on, I said that it wasn't going to be all pale ales, but now we're on episode 6, and they've all been different variations. So
way to lean into the theme of deception.
This was all planned in advance. I knew this was coming, and I planned accordingly. So, joke's on you guys. Yeah. So, this is another pale ale. This episode is no exception. Today, I am bringing to the table, this is going to be called Mystic Mama. It's by Jackie O's. This is a West Coast style IPA. So, new style. It is an IPA, but it's a different style. This one's going to have an ABV of 7%. Luckily, a little bit low, a little A little
Enough,
bit below the 7.2% that I had the other week, which I can't even remember the name of which one that was, but it was high. Oh, it was Rhinegeist Truth. But yeah, this one's 0.2% less at 7%, so I'm not going to be getting too sleepy off of it towards the end. Definitely feeling it, though. Before I get into any information about the drink itself, I need you all to go over to our Instagram page. I actually made a post over there with some of the can art for this Mystic Mama. It is super cool. Darren, I sent you a picture of it earlier. What were your thoughts on the mama herself? It's on the can.
Real mystic. No, I like the different tones they chose between the purple, the black, and like the orange. It's evokes definitely a certain kind of feeling.
Yeah,
I like it. I appreciate some good can art.
Very mystical, for sure. So that is up on our Instagram. It's going to be at Sips and Side Quests Pod, because for some reason at Sips and Side Quests was taken by some sort of school project. Whatever. Moving on. West Coast IPAs. That's what this is. But what's their deal, right? I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience. I'm drinking one right now. These things are extremely hoppy. Very hop-forward flavors here. You have to really enjoy IPAs to like this style of IPA. High bitterness as well can be expected here. This is basically just what an IPA is, but like to the max. There's nothing too crazy about it. There's nothing that's like done super differently. It's just what is already done in a regular IPA has just been turned up even more. So that's what I'm drinking. I wanted to give a shout out to Jackie O's as well real quick. They were founded in Athens, Ohio, so that's going to be home of Ohio University, for those unfamiliar. Mystic Mama itself, this has been a flagship of Jackie O's, which is a brew pub, as they call themselves, which is always cool to know. They've been around for 20 years now, and the reason I wanted to give them a special shout-out is because they actually have a pretty touching story of how the name came about for the brew pub itself. It was named after the owner's mother, who unfortunately passed away from cancer back in 2006. So it's pretty cool to see her legacy living on here, and it's being done quite a good amount of justice. Jackie O's brews are pretty widely considered to be like the tried and true classics for the different styles, as was confirmed by the man at the counter who sold me these beers today. So cool story, cool drink, and super cool can artwork as well. What do you think about all that, Darren?
Did you just pick this because of the art on the can?
No shame. I would like to not answer any questions without a lawyer present.
Okay, plead the fifth. I respect that. Okay.
Yes.
So we know that answer then. But yeah, Jackie O's, that's a great choice. I've learned a lot about Jackie O's just even from your small excerpt, because I've had Jackie O's before, and they are a fantastic, I thought brewery, but brew pub. So the description on Jackie O's too, I just assumed it was a reference to the actual Jackie O. So it's cool to see that they have more of like a family history about it.
Yeah, very touching, for sure.
So you said it was super bitter. Is it because it's dry hopped?
Yes, it is. How'd you know that?
It's on the can.
It is on the can. I did send you the picture. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to make things up on this podcast. That's not what we do. I didn't look into what makes it bitter. I just know that it is more bitter, and I know that the hops are heavy. They're hitting. That's what I do know. So
that's fair.
Probably because it's dry hopped. I don't know.
Different tastes. That's fair. Okay.
For sure.
Well, that brings me to my drink. So what I have is a Cosmonaut. Let that sink in.
I like the name.
What does that bring to mind? Yeah, it's a cool name.
Cosmonaut. It brings like space, like the universe. I feel like I'm just saying like very obvious things here. Can you help me out?
No,
what is this? What is this?
No, that's good. I mean, that's the right track that I want you on. A Cosmonaut, I believe, is a Russian astronaut specifically. So this is a vodka forward. Just kidding. So you'd think this is a gin-based cocktail with lemon juice and raspberry preserves.
Okay.
So, yeah, completely different direction. And there's a reason for that. So it was created in 2004 by the late Sasha Petrask at Milk and Honey Bar in New York City. The drink was named as a jab at the Cosmopolitan's popularity. So, nothing about cosmonauts. But the speculation is that the drink was modeled after the marmalade cocktail, which is in the 1930 Savoy cocktail book, and others have compared it to an egg-free Clover Club.
Okay, so it's actually like nothing space themed at all. It's just like a play on the other name that you said?
That's exactly right. And so specifically the recipe calls for Bon Maman raspberry preserves, which most Americans just have Smuckers. I went and actually got the Bon Maman. It is light years better than the American Smuckers.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You're okay with putting what is essentially like jam in your cocktail, but powdered sugar was like a little too far for you last week. Is that right?
It wasn't too far for me. I was just lazy.
Oh, okay. I guess there's a miscommunication there. I thought it was maybe too weird for you, but then here you are putting raspberry preserves in there. Now that sounds delicious. I still have yet to venture into the gin zone, or you know, if there's a cooler name for it, maybe that rhymes or there's some alliteration. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm glad for you. What would you rate it here? Are you enjoying it?
Ooh. It's a pretty good cocktail. I mean, so let me hit you with the ratios here. It's borderline a martini. So you've got 2 ounces of gin, 3 1/4 ounces of lemon juice, and then 3 heaping bar spoons full of raspberry preserves, which works out to about 15 to 20 mLs. So it's basically just a dressed up shot, if we're being honest. I give it maybe like a 4 out of 5. It's pretty solid.
Okay.
I think it really depends on the quality of gin that you used. I use Tanqueray 10, which is more of like a top shelf gin, and it definitely shines through. But if you're using a cheap bottom shelf gin, I would not recommend this. But pretty quality drink overall, I'd say.
Okay. My man is drinking top shelf gins, top shelf liquors only for the SSQ podcast.
Nothing but the best for you guys.
Nothing but the best. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Something that's not related to the drink at all, but you said the Milk and Honey Bar in New York. Why does that sound so familiar? Have I seen things online about, is that like a prestigious place? Like, is that a known spot?
So I read a little bit into Sasha Petrask, I guess, which he has since passed away, I believe, as of 2015. He was known for popularizing cocktails again and bringing like a sort of etiquette to them, and Milk and Honey was his bar in New York, so I would say that it's like an acclaimed place. I don't know if it's still open, to be very candid, but it was very respected in its time.
Okay. Yeah, it just sounds familiar. Like there might have been some sort of drama online regarding them within the past couple years. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that, but yeah, it just rang a bell. A weird little bell somewhere in the back of my head, you know?
Little deja vu. But
very cool though.
It's clear then, maybe your mystical mama and maybe my cosmonaut have taken their toll. So our libations have taken their toll. We would surely sway if we took a stroll. We can feel the rocking sensation even in our seats. Now that we've finished some drinks with some real hearty clinks, let's add to our boozy flair and tell some stories to fill the air. So, keeping with today's theme of deception, we're going to play 2 truths, 1 lie. How that works is each of us will say 3 sentences alluding to 3 stories. Only 2 are true. If we guess wrong, we spin the wheel of punishment. Feel free to play along. So, Troy, why don't you start us off?
I am going to start us off with this segment. This is a nice take on Tavern Tales. Definitely a fresh little thing to do. But first, can we get a little golf clap for the rhyme scheme in the transition? Darren, hopping on the rhyme scheme board, dude. I love it. I love a good rhyme scheme. But
rhyming and deception, they go hand in hand, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the best like tricksters, you know, they have these rhyming little riddles. But yeah. Okay, so yeah, 2 truths, 1 lie. So you said 3 sentences, so like a sentence apiece. These might be more like run-on sentences.
I have
But
some of mine are 2 sentences. Yeah.
yeah, okay. I just didn't know how strict the rules were, but yeah. So let me think of how to phrase these. I had it in my head earlier this week, but then because of the nature of this, I didn't want to write them down. But the first little one I have here is party. So this is going to be the time that I helped throw a party. I was in my early 20s, of course. I helped throw a party, basically co-hosted a party with a friend of mine that resulted in over 100 people packing into a 2-bedroom apartment. And the cops ended up showing up and people scattered. But pretty crazy.
So much for sentence.
Yeah, it's more of a short description, so hopefully that's okay. Next one is going to be class. This is going to be the time in high school where I ditched class. This is like the one and only time I actually ditched class, but I ditched class by hiding in a bathroom and then ran out a side door of the building that happened to be right next to the window of the teacher's class who I was skipping. So he saw me running past his window when I was supposed to be in his class. So, great time there. And then the third one, the final one, this is going to be the time where I was at, this was like a different party that I was at. It was in a barn, and I actually ended up getting into a bit of a scuffle with some dude who I didn't really know that well. He blindsided me, sucker punched me, for no other reason than he didn't like the way I looked. Which, to be fair, I used to present myself like pretty jerkish, I guess, back in the day. But, yeah, it was definitely uncalled for. So, those are my 3. So are we... it's tough, right?
Pretty good job.
Yeah. So are we going to, like, you're going to guess mine now? Or you want to tell yours and then we'll go ahead? We didn't really discuss this part.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll guess yours. And then if, I get it wrong, I'll spin the wheel, I'll do my punishment, and then we'll go into mine.
Okay. Feel free to, ask any clarifying questions. Or if you just forget something I said.
So just to summarize, so the party, you organized a party that you crammed 100 people into a 2-bedroom apartment for class. You hid in a bathroom, and then you ran out the side door next to that teacher's classroom, and then last one, you got punched because some guy didn't like you.
Didn't like the way I looked, yeah.
Okay. I feel like I get this wrong 9 times out of 10. I have to remove class. It's too believable, which may be the ploy. Anyways, that sounds very viable.
Okay. So you think that one's true?
I think that's true.
Okay.
And then we've got the fight, and then we've got the party. Mm-hmm. So the fight, to me, knowing the area, I could believe that. So I'm gonna go in on having organized a party with 100 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. That to me sounds outlandish and sounds like a lie.
Okay. Would you like to know the answer?
Only if I got it right.
Oh, well then I guess you're not gonna know the answer because you got it wrong. The party is true. That actually happened. And I'll tell you the story after you spin your punishment wheel because you were wrong. I never got into a fight. Never actually happened.
Oh, the fight. Okay. I was definitely between those two. They usually say that you lie if you tell more details, but the fight one was kind of lacking in details. So I could definitely see that being a lie as like an alternate to throw me off. But I don't feel bad. I skimmed off one of the ones that was true, so that feels okay.
Yeah, the class one, knowing the class one was true is funny because it's just so dumb. Like it was literally the side. Well, I'll tell the story, but it was literally such just a bonehead move. I thought that you thought that I was smarter than that, but it's okay. I'm gonna be feeling better here in a second after we spin this punishment wheel.
Yeah, go ahead and spin the wheel. I'll take my punishment, and then you can tell us the stories.
Yeah, let's spin it here. Ready, set, go. All right, it is spinning here. I can only see it on my screen just because of the way things are set up, but I don't know what the punishments actually are. So it's stopping here. All right, Darren, it stopped on Fantasy Flex. You want to tell me what that is?
That's probably the best of them.
Really?
Fantasy Flex.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the best, at least for me. Loser must dramatically describe their current outfit like it's legendary armor.
Oh, wow. Okay. Go for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, so what I've got on right now is my +2 tank top of comfort. And so it provides
comfort,
extra dexterity,
okay.
Definitely for athletics. Then we go down to, we've got the aloof pair of shorts from a Marlin. These shorts right here. They also help with dexterity, and another feature of them is I would probably say they lower your health, lower your armor, because they're not going to protect from a sword to the knee. So
to the knee.
That's important to note. And then we've got let's see here. We've got 2 more pieces. It looks like. So we've got the black foot gloves of
come on
Sternicus. And so the black foot gloves, these increase your armor class by 2. They prevent you from stepping on any small stones, so that's super important. And they increase your warmth if there happened to be a blizzard. They would help you through that. So those are important.
Okay.
And then
the foot gloves.
Last but not least, we have got the connected communication stones of Hyperexis.
Oh, what?
They allow for correspondence over long ranges.
Wow. That is some advanced technology there, huh?
Okay, that was that was more rough than I thought it would be.
Yeah, you didn't do. I like that you put a lot of effort into the names, right? You really, came up with some interesting names. But then just a little critique. You said legendary armor, and then your shirt is only like a +2. That's a little nuts. You'd think it'd have more stats on that thing.
Look, so in D&D, +2 is hard to come by. +1, sure, but +2 is hard to come by.
Oh, we're talking like D&D armor? Okay.
I'm kind of like all across. Like, I borrowed inspiration from like a Fallout, from like, survival games where you get cold. I borrowed inspiration from a lot of games. So in my head, +2 was impressive.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But
you did it.
Maybe you'll have a better chance when you spin the wheel.
So. That's assuming I spin it. Let's hear your 3 choices here. Let's find out.
Okay. These are musical themed. All of them.
Okay.
And I actually did sentences.
Okay, good.
So, 1. I was in the audience of a musical where I had to wear a poncho. This was to avoid being splashed with blood.
Okay.
2. I was in charge of ticket sales for a musical that sold out 2 of 3 nights.
Okay.
And 3. I was in the audience of a musical that bid on Hugh Jackman's gloves.
Hugh Jackman's gloves?
Yeah.
Were they hand gloves or foot gloves?
I do not believe the foot gloves were up for sale, so it was just the hand gloves.
Okay. All right. Well, I suppose I will just think aloud here. None of them are like super standing out for me. They all seem like realistic things. And
you had to eliminate one.
If I had to eliminate one as being true, I feel like the poncho one might be true. I've never been to like a musical or anything like that where they splash blood, but I feel like it sounds outlandish, and you put it in there because it sounds crazy. Because you're like he's gonna think like this is not true, because what musicals do that? But there might be some crazy ones out there that do it. So we'll see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. I'm gonna say that's true. I think we'll I'm not going to overthink it too much here. I'm going to say the one where what was it? You were selling tickets or something?
I was in charge of ticket sales for a musical that sold out 2 of 3 nights.
I think that fact is so boring and realistic that you didn't actually do it. I'm going to say that's the lie.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, lock it in. I'm not going to overthink.
So here's what we'll do. That is true. I'll give you another chance. I'm so confident you're not going to get this right. I will spin the wheel if you get this right between my other 2 facts.
Why? Why would you do that?
I am so confident that you are not going to get this right.
Okay, well then I'm going to say the Hugh Jackman's gloves one is fake if you're just giving me a free guess.
That one is also correct.
Okay. So the blood thing isn't real.
Welcome to the theme of the episode, Deception. They're all true.
Okay, no. That's not...
Yep. Go ahead and spin the wheel for me.
What?
You couldn't find the lie.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lie. Dude. That's bad. I'll spin the wheel. It's spinning. But I reserve the right to decline if this is a terrible one.
No.
It's going to be stopping on Gordon Ramsay.
Ooh.
Tell me what that is. Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. So we've got Gordon Ramsay. Pretend you're hosting a magical cooking show and the dish is something gross or cursed.
Wow. Question before I start. Can I use one of the dishes from episode 1? The unique dishes that we came up with. Didn't come up with.
If you add like a magic twist to it, right?
Magic twist.
Add a little bit something extra, like something fantasy.
Okay. Something fantasy. I'm not good at improv here. I'm not going to do any of those ones. We're just going to come up with something crazy. So, welcome one and all. Welcome one and all. This is Troy's magical gross food cooking show. Yes, applause, applause, applause. Today we're going to be cooking something gross and magical. Yes, that's the name of the show, so that's what we're going to be doing. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. Those in the front row, you might want to put on your ponchos because there may be blood coming in your direction. Today, we have with us some live mandrakes. That's right, from the Harry Potter universe themselves. You remember those little things that live in pots in the dirt and then they scream when you pull them out? We got some live ones right here. How did we get them? How do they exist? It's magic. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking them out of their pots and we're going to be first boiling them alive. Much like lobsters, we need them to be alive to get the best flavor. So we're going to take it here. Cover your ears if you're in the crowd here. If you're on TV, it's probably fine. We're going to put it into the boiling pot. Yeah, you hear that whistling coming out of the pot? That's it screaming, actually, but the water muffles it. You know, from up here, you can actually, you can hear a little bit of the screaming. It's a little jarring, but hopefully out there, you guys are all fine. So I actually have another one that's been fully boiled here. It is fully dead, boiled to death. I don't know if it drowned or if it was the heat or what, but we have it here. So I'm going to take it out, and then you just simply chop it into pieces. If you've ever watched any sort of shows that show you how to chop up animals or skin them or gut them, it's much the same process. These little guys actually do have blood in them, which is why I mentioned the ponchos earlier. So you're just going to cut off the legs, cut off the arms. You see the blood spurting out, that's okay. We don't want the blood anyway. It really takes away from the dish. So now that we have just like the torso and the lower body here, we're going to slash this into pieces, and we're going to put this in the oven at 375 for 16 to 20 minutes. After that, we're going to pull it out. We'll serve it with some other sort of tubers on the side, maybe some potatoes, some sweet potatoes, whatever you have. The theme here is things that come out of the ground and then you eat. This one just happens to be alive. So that was Troy's magical, gross cooking show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. There we go. All done.
That's appetizing. You did really well.
Thank you. Thank you. That was easier than I thought. Maybe it's the Mystic Mamas, but I just felt it and I just went with it, you know?
I did read, because originally I was writing a bit about like, oh, alcohol, you think it makes you smarter. I think there's actually studies that show that it improves your creativity. So,
There we go.
even better.
Even better. Yeah. The three, wow, that like, they were all true. So I feel like in future segments, I'm going to do something like that, and you can't tell me it's unfair, and it's going to be fine.
As long as it goes with the theme. Sure.
The theme
So,
is going to be screwing over Darren. I'm just kidding.
so my original fact in place of the audience, where you had to wear a poncho, my original fact was I was one of the leads in a musical. Would you bite on that?
What, that would be like a fake fact?
Yeah.
Would I think that would be fake? Nah, I'd probably think that'd be true, because I know that you like have done some musicals throughout your school years. So
It was a pretty good list to begin with. I have never been a lead in a musical, but I was part of a musical. So you still would have gotten that wrong. So it'd have been fine.
maybe, but maybe maybe not.
But maybe you got it wrong this time. But anyways, let's get into some of the stories. How did you fit 100 people into a 100-bedroom apartment?
A 100-bedroom apartment? We didn't. It was a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So
a little bit easier with 100 bedrooms, but with 2.
That'd have been perfect. Yeah. No. So this was totally unplanned. We did not try to do this. This was not something we even wanted. We were at a friend's house having, I think it was like a New Year's party or something like that. We had a bunch of people over there. Some drama went down where like the host was like kicking people out early, like, and especially on New Year's, you don't want that. You want to stay there until midnight at least. But I don't know, something happened. I can't even remember what the drama was, but he was kicking people out. So my one friend and I, we were like, well, the night's not over, so, let's invite the people who are getting kicked out to come over to, my friend's place, which happened. He was living with another friend of ours. It was just like a 2-bedroom apartment.
How old were you when all this happened?
Like early 20s.
Okay.
So we, invited some people over. We thought maybe like 10, 15 people, which is much easier. We had thrown parties at that apartment before with that many people, and it's like, fine. But for some reason, my friend, he texted a guy and invited him that I didn't really know this guy, but apparently he was like really well known or something within like the area. And I don't know, one thing led to another. The address got like tweeted out on Twitter.
Oh no.
And they were just like, huge party at this address, everybody come. So everybody came. And the funny part is, we had left the one party to go host this smaller one, just to continue the evening. And my friend, we got there and then he left again to go pick up more drinks, more alcohol and things. And so I was just kind of like holding down the fort, and he was gone maybe 20 to 30 minutes total. And in that span of time, like over 100 people came, and I'm just sitting there like freaking out because people just kept coming in. And like, it was people I didn't know at first, and I was like, this is fine. People kept going in, and it like reaches a point where it's like, I think this is too many people. And that is at like 20, 25 people, and they just kept coming. So by the time my friend got back, I was calling him. I was like, dude, you need to come here. There's way too many people. He thought I was like overreacting, but I was not. This got out of control so fast. There were people like selling guns in this party. Like I witnessed one being sold, and people just like doing all kinds of drugs. And like there was a basement in this place, and you go down there and it was packed wall to wall. Like dude, like 50 people in like an apartment basement. It was maybe like a townhome, maybe not an apartment, but still.
That's insane.
There was not, and the weird thing is, it was like they were like all NPCs or something, because there was no music down there. There was nothing down there. It was just people standing with like.
Were they dancing?
I don't remember if they were dancing. That'd be crazy. But it was like, imagine you go to a concert, and it's like you're bumping shoulders with people. It was that, but in this basement, and there was no music. Everybody was just like talking down there. It was so bizarre. So obviously, like, the cops get called because this is crazy, and they come and people just run and scatter. And yeah, no, the cops confirmed. Like, it was like over 100 people that showed up to this thing. It was like, if you've ever seen Project X, it was basically that movie to a smaller scale, but in real life. My friend's name starts with an F. We actually, it's dubbed Project F within our friend group. So that's a true story. It was a insane night. I can't believe it happened.
Super outlandish.
Yeah, it is. No, it really happened. I don't know. Twitter, the good old days.
Yeah, good old days.
So that was the first true one, and then the second true one is the class skipping. Little bit less to the story here. I gave a lot of the details already when I was describing it, but yeah, it was like a math class. A friend and I actually skipped it together, and yeah, we went and just kind of hung out in the bathroom until the bell rang, waited a few minutes, and then ran out a side door. Didn't realize until we were out the side door, oh wait, that's Mr. So-and-so's classroom right there. So we took off running, sprinting down the sidewalk. We at that time, we all lived in a neighborhood like across the street from the school we went to, so we like walked to school anyway. So we were basically just like going home. But we were scared. We were terrified. So we went to our other friend's house who happened to be homeschooled. So he was there, lived in the same neighborhood, hung out there for like an hour, and then finally felt safe to leave. And then as we're walking down the street to my friend's house, who I skipped with, my dad pulls up beside us and like,
oh no.
Yeah, somehow he found us at the exact right time. Like, obviously the teacher had called, or like the school had called and told them like, yeah, Troy's like just skipped class. I just saw him running down the sidewalk. And my dad was so mad. Funnily enough, they only wanted to give me like one detention for it, but my dad like went in there with me and we talked to the principal, and he was like, no, you give him the maximum punishment. So I got 3 days of in-school suspension for that, which was crazy. But yeah, that's that whole story there. That's a true one as well.
Do it again?
What's that?
Did you ever do it again?
No, I never ditched again until college.
I guess it worked.
But no, I mean, it definitely worked, if not just because of my dad's reaction. I was like, dang, dude, you never skipped school? I know he skipped school, Yeah, so, he's not a great
It's funny you say that. Different styles of parenting, maybe, but what I would do is we had a cappuccino machine in our cafeteria, and so I would drink a cappuccino, and I would go to the nurse's office, and I was like, oh man, I got a fever, and they'd check, and they'd be like, oh my god, you got like 102, you need to go home now, and they'd call my mom. And so her favorite story to tell is, she would pick me up from work, and then we'd be in the car, and then as soon as I'm off the school property, after I'm looking awful and haggard, I go, can we eat?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then the school switched over. They no longer had like the under the tongue thermometers. Most of them are like forehead now. That one's even easier. All you do is rub your forehead, and then it gets hot.
You're giving out way too many school skipping tricks to the youngsters here.
Stay in school. But it ended up, I can't remember what the criteria was. I want to say it's something like, I'm just going to make arbitrary numbers. So it's like, you can't miss more than like 14 days of school. And so I had missed a bunch of half days, and they're like, you're at 12, you're in danger of not graduating. So I just, I locked it in and I graduated.
There you go. You procrastinated progressively, or whatever you said, positively. You procrastinated positively. You got a bunch of time off of school. Hopefully you got, a nice little meal that day you went home, and still graduated. So all good. But
yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah, so those are my true stories. And then, before you get to yours, I do want to tell you, I think I'm a genius. The story I told you that was fake, it is fake, but it's based off of real events, right? The party, it existed. The guy, he exists, but he didn't actually punch me in the face. He just told my friend he wanted to because of how I look. So everything else is true except the events. I knew that was going to trip you up because it's like basically real. Deception.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You just kind of blend reality. You take reality, and then you just like slightly tweak it.
Yeah, the party is definitely the most non-believable though. If you didn't know better, so I think I would have picked that one too. But yeah, go. Let's get into yours here. You have 3 to tell, so.
Yeah, do you have a preference on where to start? We got the poncho story, the ticket sales, and then we've got Hugh Jackman's gloves.
Yeah, just the order they were presented, I guess. So the one you just said.
So this is probably one of my favorites. I didn't used to be so cultured. You ever heard of a movie called Evil Dead?
No.
So Evil Dead, it's like a B-tier horror movie, a lot of campy horror. It kind of gained a cult following. They've since redone it. I mean, there's even a game based on it at this point, but it's like these people go into the woods. The plot of it is not super important, but what happened was you go to this musical and they say, do you want to sit in the splash zone or no? And you're like, what kind of musical has a splash zone? So of course I want to sit in the splash zone, and I do. So you get the ponchos, and there's this spot where the villain is being chainsawed by the hero, and he's like belting. He's going, die, die. And he's got the chainsaw, and there's this like tube coming off of the chainsaw, and it is spurting blood into the audience. It's not like actual blood. Come on.
No, but still. Even fake.
It's like the it's like red water, but it's the comedy of it. But yeah, so that was the Evil Dead musical. One of my, I think, first, if not second, I think it was first musical that I had ever been exposed to. So that was my bar.
That's okay. So it wasn't like actual like fake blood. It was just like red water or something. That's a little better than I was imagining.
Yeah, it wasn't actually blood, but I mean, putting that in there felt like a lot of effort. So I just blood.
Yeah, that's wow. I mean, yeah, that's a tough one to beat if that was one of your first experiences. That's like you gotta love the interactivity, you know. So
yeah, they've got some good musicals though. They could probably live up to it. They've got a musical about corn now. It's called Shucks. Shucks or Shucked, I can't remember, but it's literally just corn puns throughout. So I feel like that is going to live in there. I think they actually did a Shrek musical. I never saw it, but that would probably be in the same league.
That Shucks is a great name for a corn musical. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's either Shucks or Shucked. I can't remember.
Either way.
It's actually coming. It's coming across the country with Broadway, I believe, next year. So.
Oh, wow. Okay, good to know. Yeah, so that's a good one. What was your next one? Something about you're in charge of ticket sales, right?
Yes, I was in charge of ticket sales for a musical that sold out for 2 of 3 nights. So musicals were done on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday did not sell out because it is Thursday. It was Seussical. I was the business lead for my theater class, and it was a little bit of, I think, advertising, a little bit of the nature of Seussical is there's like 20 to 22 people in it. So of course everyone's going to bring their extended family.
Okay, so that would explain the sellouts. Is it like rare for plays to sell out multiple nights in a row?
I mean, it was a musical. In terms of plays were done in the black box, which had significantly less seating. I would say maybe in the ballpark of like, I think like maybe 80 to 100, as opposed to like auditorium is more like 600.
Okay. Still, I mean, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, it has to do with the choice, right? So like if you pick, I think a lot of high school musical teachers will pick Little Shop of Horrors, which I don't know anything about it, but I don't think that sells out. That one's very common, but it depends on the content, I guess, that they pick. And Seussical just so happens to be one that has way too many people in it.
Okay, good to know. I'm learning a lot about plays and things right now. So
yeah,
thanks for that. Yeah, and then the last one. Well, something about seated at a musical. Why don't you tell me what it was?
I was in the audience of a musical that bid on Hugh Jackman's gloves.
Yeah, so any kind of auction at a musical is already kind of bizarre to me.
And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to be vague because I can't explicitly remember, but I remember the details to get there. So Hugh Jackman was with Sutton Foster, and they were doing, I believe it's Music Man. I always mix up Sound of Music and Music Man. I'm pretty sure it's Sound of Music.
Okay.
Music Man, rather. So The plot of Music Man, not super important, but the whole gist is like he's a salesman and he's trying to sell instruments to people that they don't actually need. But so what happens is, we do the musical, everything's good, and then there's a charity for Broadway that they try to get donations for, and they're like, "Oh, does anyone want to donate? We've got signed posters." I've got a signed poster from Hugh Jackman of the musical, so that's pretty cool. Those were like a sum of money, and it's all donated, so they don't actually earn any proceeds from that. And then you've got they came across and they're like, okay, we're gonna auction off this and that, and they get to Hugh Jackman's gloves, and so it goes 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000.
Oh my gosh.
$8,000 for a pair of his gloves.
They actually sold too?
Oh yeah, $8,000.
Wow.
And the individual bought it. They were like going back and forth on bidding, and so they all went to charity. The craziest part to me of this story, other than someone spent $8,000 on gloves, it was to charity. So $8,000 that person spent was tax deductible.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, 1, it goes to charity. 2, they get like a souvenir. 3, tax deductible, so they may not have actually paid for it anyways.
I love that for them. I mean, Hugh Jackman's gloves though, were they just like his personal gloves, or were they like maybe he wore them in a movie or something?
So it was with the musical. He wears like white gloves.
Oh, so they're very like specific, like iconic.
Yeah, they probably they were covered in sweat, probably. Yeah.
Love that.
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so those were all 3 true stories, even though the prompt was 2 truths, 1 lie. That's great. What a great time.
Let's just do a throwback to the beginning where I said, keep your wits about you. What I meant to say was, not only you, the audience, but you, Troy, should keep your wits about you.
Evil laugh there.
Mwahaha. But moving on. Let's make our way to the village board and see what's in store for us. We tip our hats to the bartender and leave a handful of coins for the well-made drinks. We saunter out of the bar with a noticeable dizziness to our steps, an almost rhythmic motion to our walk. Upon leaving the bar, the sun greets us with a blinding presence. Rubbing our eyes, we continue on to the village board in the center of town. Except, where's the village board? We must have forgotten. No, that's not right. It's the town board, not a village board. We look back at the bar and it looks different too. Upon re-entering the bar, the bartender isn't there anymore. In his place is a skeleton covered in cobwebs. Our pile of coins we left is just seashells. The glasses on the bar are just full of seawater. Turning around, we realize that the swaying wasn't from the drinks. We're on a ship? The ship is decayed and rotting, barely a seafaring vessel. We look at each other for a moment before breaking into an uproarious laughter. I laugh, you laugh, our hats laugh. Our hats laugh? Prepare yourself for a mimic encounter.
Dun dun dun. We're on a ship.
Yeah, we're on a ship. You're good. Can you spot a mimic out of a crowd?
Yes.
Is that everyday item actually just waiting for the right moment? Let's find out by testing your knowledge of these trivia questions. They'll all be true or false. Tell me it's true, if that's how it should be, or false if not. If you end with less right than wrong, it'll be a spin on the wheel of punishment. What do you think of that?
Oh, what do I think of it? I was waiting to just jump right into it. I think I don't want to even think about it too much. I just want to do it because I'm already overthinking. But you know what? You have to promise me that if something is true and I say it's true, that you have to also say it's true. You have to tell me the truth. You can't be like, you can't just go against whatever I say no matter what. That's not fair.
No. This is for ending the mimic. This is fair. That other one was just a bit for the segment.
All right. I put on my robe and wizard hat. Let's do this.
Okay. Wizard hat on. Number 1. Burping doesn't function the same way in space as it does on Earth.
Wow. Burping does not function the same way as it does on Earth. And by function, can you define how a burp functions for me?
No.
Well, he's not going to help me out at all. I guess I'll just have to use my own wits, my own mind here to explore this weird question. I think they probably function the same in space because the inside of the, whatever they're in, the space stations and stuff, functions the same breathing-wise. So why would burps be any different? I'm going to say that they do function the same, so that would be a false statement.
That is true. So, without gravity, gas and liquid don't separate in your stomach, so burping isn't as straightforward.
That's it?
That's it. You got it wrong. That's 1 point against you. You are 1 point closer to the wheel.
Okay. I'm gonna need some more information, bro. You can't. I'm gonna need some more information on some of these.
I'm not gonna give you the answer. You're gonna take the question as it's written because it's meant to be deceptive.
Okay. It's a little unfair, but we'll
what do you mean it's unfair? It's unfair that we've been wearing hats this entire time and that they've been mimics.
You know what? It's okay. Just read me the questions. I'll make a guess. We'll find out. If I have to do the punishment, I'll do it. I'm a doer. So if I gotta do something, I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Number 2.
Let's get into number 2. The Monopoly mascot is best recognized by his top hat and monocle.
False. That's a Mandela effect. He never had a monocle. Next question.
Ooh, that's a good one. He does wear a top hat, but has never had a monocle.
We're on the board, baby. Sorry for interrupting you.
Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut. Yeah, I knew that one. Let's go.
I figured some of these you would know. So, number 3. A gold-plated Nintendo Wii was once delivered to Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay, this is just absurd. Man, I am like really ignorant of other countries. Is Queen Elizabeth II the one that passed within recent years? So she was like,
yeah.
Okay. Was once delivered gold-plated. That sounds bizarre, but it sounds like, how could somebody just come up with that randomly? I don't know. I'm back and forth. It sounds like it's obviously something that could happen. It's very based in reality, but I don't really see the connection between like Nintendo and Queen Elizabeth. And to be honest, with her age and the year the Wii came out, I can't see her even being interested in that. But maybe some members of the royal family live there as well, and they were like younger. I don't know. It's I'm just gonna have to guess on this one. I'm gonna say that
I'll give you a hint. No one in the royal family requested this for her.
Okay. Including herself, she didn't request it? Can you tell me that?
I will not tell you that.
Okay. I mean, you gotta think, like, what even Wii games would she play? I mean, maybe, like, Animal Crossing? I can't see her firing up, like, the Mario Kart or Smash. You know?
Maybe she's a big bowler, you know?
Maybe it got delivered by somebody, but, like, it was never requested, so because the way you phrased it, like, it got delivered there, but it wasn't like Queen Elizabeth ordered one. I'll go with true, I guess. Maybe it, I mean, it's based in reality.
You don't sound that sure.
No, I'm not. I mean, you're not giving me any information other than the statement, so.
I give you a hint.
Yeah, I mean, you did, but still, I'm gonna say true, I suppose.
All right. That is absolutely correct. So,
really?
In 2009, THQ sent a gold Wii to the Queen as a promotional stunt. She did not request it.
Promotional? That's what I was leaning, was like somebody sent it to her, but it's like she would never, what use would she have for it? But That's
I
a
mean,
good.
she could exercise, I guess. I think she walked the gardens, but I definitely could see that.
To walk in the gardens with like a cane is a little different than like those
I don't think she had a cane.
Wii Fitness. I don't know. No disrespect to Queen Lizzie. I apologize.
R.I.P.
But yes. R.I.P. But I don't know. I don't see her. I don't see her using a Wii. Not back
Well, she's
then.
definitely not using it now.
Yeah, for sure, not now. But even but even back then, I don't know. But anyway, I got the question right. So we're 2-1 with 3 questions remaining. So what
There's
were the
10
rules?
in total.
Oh, I was thinking we were doing 5. Yeah.
No,
So
it's
you
10.
changed it up on me. So what's the ratio? I have to get. What if I get 5 and 5? I
have a tiebreaker.
Okay. So 5 and 5 is a tiebreaker. If I get 6 correct, no wheel.
That's right.
Okay, so we're 2-1. Let's keep going. I didn't know there were 10.
Yeah. So, question 4: the Flintstones is spelled with only one T.
That's false because there's Flintstones. No, Flintstones. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know, but I'm gonna say there is only one T because I don't think it's Flintstones. I think it's Flintstones. I don't know that for sure though, so I'm gonna say
Okay.
it's spelled.
So if you think there's one T, then that would be false.
Oh, so it is Flintstones.
Are you telling me that's what your answer is false?
I mean, you already told me the answer, so I'm gonna have to go with false. Now you already told me.
Okay. I don't think I told you. I think I was just kind of trying to clarify, but you definitely said that you thought there was one.
Oh,
T, so
wait. I thought you were telling me the answer like.
No. I was just trying to clarify. But you did say that you thought there was only one T.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. Yes.
Okay. So, it has 2 T's.
Okay.
So it is spelled Flintstones with 2 T's, one for Flint and one for Stones.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Flint. I thought it was just Flintstones, but yeah, that's
You're all tied up.
That's an old cartoon. So
Yeah.
okay.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Yep. Let's keep going.
Number 5, the last of the spelling questions. Looney Tunes is spelled like cartoons with double O's, and we're specifically referring to the tunes portion.
False. I don't think that's true. I'm just right off the bat.
Why?
Because that's the way it is. No, I don't know. Maybe they used to be musical episodes. I don't know. I said false already.
Is that what you want to stick with?
Yes, final answer. False.
Okay. That is correct, yes. So it is actually tunes, Tunes, which is a reference to the musical nature of the early animated shorts. I'm sure you remember Bugs Bunny with the opera scenes, like with either with like the Viking helmets or like with, doing like the barbershop stuff. It used to be musical.
Yes. I didn't know that, but I thought it. My brain came up with it. I was like, that's what makes sense. Okay. 3 and 2. Halfway through when we're ahead. Same ratio the second half. We're golden, baby. Let's do it.
You know what that brings us to? Number 6.
Number 6.
Some sources claim people may unknowingly swallow spiders during sleep, though exact numbers are debated.
This is true. I know this one. That's a layup. Thank you.
That is false.
What is this? Some kind of common myth? Everybody knows that you can swallow spiders.
It's funny you say that. The 8 spiders a year claim was fabricated to show how quickly misinformation spreads.
No way. That can't be right. That cannot be right. Where's your source? Where's the fact checker? Fact checkers, hello? It's just us on the show. Dang it.
Comment down below if you think that
wow,
this information is wrong.
Race car in the background over there. Very cool. Wow. It was wow. I mean it proved its point there.
Surprising, right?
Yeah, that's just like my mind's kind of blown. That's like been just common knowledge for most of my life that happens.
I tried to really mix in like common facts that someone would have heard with like a little bit of deception and then a little bit of like the Mandela effect. So.
Yeah. Wow, that was a good one. You got me. 3-3.
Yep. 3-3 tied up. The wheel is still on the table. On your computer specifically. But number 7. Lightning can briefly surpass the surface temperature of the sun.
Ooh. I don't know.
That's hot.
I've not heard of anything about this. I don't know anything, so I'm just gonna have to go off of my own like world knowledge here. Man, I would say because it's so. No, there's no way. The sun is so hot. Lightning, yes, it's very concentrated and it's all in one spot and it's so brief and powerful. It probably gets pretty hot, but the sun is so hot. There's no way. I'm going to say that's false. There's no way that it surpasses the sun's temperature.
That is your 4th question wrong. It is true. So a lightning bolt can reach over 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is over 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
That is insane. The sun is so hot already. Oh my god.
Not as hot as a lightning bolt.
Wow, man. And people get struck by lightning and survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a split second, right? Like, I'm sure if you go to the surface of the sun, it's probably not going to feel very good, but, you can withstand the less than a second lightning bolt, I guess.
If I could teleport and I teleported to the sun and back in less than a second, I'd be better off than if I got struck by lightning, is what you're telling me?
I can't refute that or deny it or approve it. Maybe.
Maybe. I'll take a maybe. Okay.
That is a solid maybe.
Wow. Okay. These are getting harder, I feel, as we go along. So maybe we'll just have a wheel spin here shortly. Let's find out.
There's no particular order on these. I didn't try to. I thought the first one would be a little bit of a gimme, the burping, and that did not go the way I thought. So this is creating a little bit of tension. We like that. 4 wrong and 3 right going into question 8.
Okay. What do we got?
Wombats produce cube-shaped poop due to the shape of their pelvic bones.
What even is... Okay, I'm screwed. What even is a wombat, dude?
I will permit you looking up what a wombat is. Go to Google Images and look up what a wombat is. It's an Australian marsupial.
Okay.
I don't know about marsupial, but it's Australian.
Wombats. Oh no, I don't know if I search it. I feel like the very first...
just do images.
But the very first suggestion is wombat poop. I feel like something's going to come up. So I'm just going to look at the... Okay, I saw some images. They're like little rodent-looking things, right?
They're a little bit bigger. Think like medium dog-sized.
Okay. The question was, they come out in little squares?
Let me specify. Wombats produced cube-shaped poop due to the shape of their pelvic bones.
It looks like such a weird little creature. It probably does do some weird stuff like that. I'm gonna say true just for the heck of it.
That is number 5 false. Oh no.
Is it really?
Yes. So I think you were fixating on the cube-shaped poop. I thought for sure you had at least heard that. I definitely made this question extra tricky. They do poop in cube shape.
Oh wait, that's what you asked me. You said... Oh,
that's not what I asked.
Oh my god, bro.
I asked how they poop. Yeah. So
because of their pelvic... This is the dumbest game. Oh my gosh.
You're just mad because you're losing. You would love it otherwise. So they do poop cube-shaped. And that's the reason for that is marking their territory so it doesn't roll away. But to emphasize on the question that was asked, the cube shape forms inside their intestines due to varied elasticity, not their bone structure.
I hope people listen to this and they'll be like, Darren was so mean. He tricked Troy on purpose.
You're doing really well, honestly. You've made it to question 9, and it's not a certain thing that you've lost. So that's not bad. I didn't think I'd get to use all the questions.
I have to win out from here, though.
You got to lock in. Honestly, question 9, that should be a freebie for you. Okay. Question 10, I don't know.
I got to put some more thought into... I just got to think more. That's really it. I got to get my brain working, which is tough because I feel like I might have surpassed the point of being smarter off of alcohol, and now I'm just have had too much and can't think right. 7%ers, baby. Let's go.
But let's roll into question 9.
Okay.
So Tomatoes are part of the same plant family as deadly nightshade, also known as belladonna.
You said I should get this one?
Yes.
Wait. I think the only reason I'll get this one is because we talked about this, didn't we? We talked about this recently. Right?
Possibly.
I'm going to say it's true because I think we talked about it and I think I was like surprised that it was a thing. Unless you're like tricking me and it was actually not tomatoes, it was something else we talked about. But either way, I'm gonna say it's true, I suppose.
What you are saying is true. You want to risk a wheel spin on true.
Yeah, actually, it's coming back to me now because we were talking about something with tomatoes and like the acidity, and you were like, that tracks because it's also part of the nightshade family. I remember it now. It's true. You told me it was true through text the other day.
You are correct. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, which also includes potatoes and eggplants.
Potatoes is surprising because they're just so, they're just there, you know.
Yeah, you
very
don't really
neutral.
eat raw potatoes, so maybe that's why.
Very neutral, but okay.
Right,
so
it
literally all comes down to question 10, 4 and 5. Wow.
Well, I mean, if you get it right, you still have the tiebreaker, but you got a chance of a wheel spin here.
I kind of want the tiebreaker and a wheel spin because I feel like that's what's most entertaining. So let me get this one right, and then we'll do the tiebreaker. I'll get it wrong. Let's fix it.
Lock in here. So going into question 10, you have 5 wrong and 4 right. If you get this wrong, there will be a wheel spin. So some ancient helmets with horn-like decorations have been found in parts of Northern Europe.
False.
That is a wheel spin. That is true. So originally how this started was Vikings do not wear horns on their helmet. That is a myth. And so this went a little bit deeper. Turns out a few ceremonial horned helmets have been found, mainly predating the Viking Age.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a trick question because it seems like they would be found there because of the Vikings. But
yeah, not the Vikings. Yeah, took it a weird angle. But let's ask you the 11th question to see how you would have done on it.
Yeah, let's hear the tiebreaker anyway.
So, Albert Einstein was formally offered a leadership position in a newly established government.
I have no idea. I mean, I would have had to just guess on this. I would say probably not. I don't think... no, I'm thinking of Thomas Edison. Einstein, he probably was offered just because of his prowess. So I'll say true. I probably would have said true there. What's the answer?
That is correct, yeah. In 1952, Einstein was officially offered the role of head of state, the president of a country, and he declined due to a lack of political experience.
Cool. I'm glad we got to see. So I would have gotten that right, so we wouldn't have had a wheel spin. This is better. I want the wheel spin because for those listening, I literally... Here's the thing to know about Darren. He loves suspense and secrecy and mystery. I don't know why. That's how he is. So he actually has not told me what any of these wheel spins are. I know the names of them because I'm the one spinning the wheel, but I don't know any of the descriptions. I don't know what they entail. Nothing. So I'm curious. I'm down to just spin the wheel all day. Let's do this.
I'm doing it for the content.
For the content. Do it for the pod, bro. Are we ready for the spin? Should I just go for it?
Yeah, no repeats. Let's go.
No repeat. Well, yeah, I've been taking them out. All right, we're spinning. This is going to be... wow. I don't love the sound of this title. It's called Meet Your Maker.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be a rapid fire one. As soon as I'm done telling you the description, you have to start, okay?
Okay. Fine.
And to increase the stakes, what you're doing is going to end up in the universe canonically.
Oh, within the SSQ universe?
That's right.
Uh-oh. Okay. That's pressure.
So I'm going to finish with how much time you have to do it. That'll be your time to start. Meet Your Maker Generate a weird fantasy NPC in 20 seconds. Go.
Okay, the weird fantasy NPC, his name is going to be Ned. And some of you might be thinking Ned Flanders. That is the first person that came to mind for me, but it's not Ned Flanders. I'm wasting time here. So, he is going to be a guy that he has a weird hat with a feather on it, and he's very tall, and he talks in a very high-pitched voice, but he doesn't like to talk a lot. He only talks every now and then. Okay.
That's time.
20 seconds. I should have had 30.
All right. Actually, the original prompt that I was going through with this, you were supposed to create 3 in 30 seconds, so I was pretty generous.
No shot.
Yeah. So, all right. So you've got Ned, who's tall, wears a funny hat, right?
Yep. Like yours from earlier with a feather on it.
Oh, okay. So like a musketeer hat.
Yeah, and he's very tall, and he has a high-pitched voice, but he doesn't like to talk often. Presumably because of his high-pitched voice.
High-pitched voice, and doesn't like to talk.
I'm realizing now that if I were to use Ned in a transition of mine in the future, I will have to now make a voice for him. So, that's funny.
Yeah, so Ned now exists out of nowhere. Poof. Ned exists in this universe, and we will find him in a future episode.
Okay. Wonder what he sounds like.
All things considered, those questions were pretty tough, so great job.
Yeah, those were definitely harder than I thought. I definitely expected to get more information about them, but that's okay. When it's my turn to host this segment, I will repay the favor there. So, just messing around. No, it was fun. I got more right than I expected to, honestly. And I like that we came down to the final question. That was cool.
Yeah, you did a great job. I probably could have dialed back on some questions, but I wasn't quite sure where you laid. So that's cool. But
yes, sir.
Either way, let's get back to it.
Okay.
You finish stabbing the hat with your daggers until you're satisfied with the resemblance of Swiss cheese. The hat is indistinguishable from its former glory, riddled with holes and tattered beyond belief. My hat is incinerated in my hand as it's reduced to an ash. The wind catches the flaming remnants of the hat and swirls them onto the rotted sails of the ship. In an instant, the sails and eventually the rest of the vessel are on fire. We're left with no choice but to abandon ship. A swift sprint to the edge of the ship, followed by a frigid plunge into the sea below. Thankfully, this vessel crashed upon the shore long, long ago. Our swim is a short one as we gather ourselves on the nearby beach. Questions echo in our heads of who was responsible for this. The once harsh sun has made its retreat. Our sopping wet clothing chills us to the bone without the warmth of the sun. We decide to make camp in the nearby woods. It's not too difficult to put together a makeshift shelter and hot fire. The fire which casts dancing shadows across our temporary campsite. The sounds from the forest are unwelcoming and foreboding. What lurks in these woods? Let's take a look at today's monster manual. All right, so there's a monster of folklore which resides in the woods. It may be closer than you think. Our mythical monster of legend is the Jersey Devil.
Ooh.
Others refer to it as the Leeds Devil.
Ooh.
Let's discuss.
Let's do it.
Sounds like there's an owl in the woods too.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm making ghost noises for a devil. It's okay. It's spooky.
A little bit of origin on the Leeds Devil here. So, the most famous story recounts Mrs. Leeds, known as Mother Leeds to some, finding out that she was expecting her 13th child, which is insane. Upset with learning this, she cried out, "Let it be the devil!" That child arrived on a stormy night in 1735. Thunder boomed across southern New Jersey as the creature was born. A loud screech echoed from its lungs as it unfolded its wings and flew out the window into the adjacent swamp. Other accounts say the child was born normal and took on an odd characteristic or two later. Characteristics such as an elongated body, winged shoulders, a large horse-like head, cloven feet, and a thick tail. According to legend, the child was confined until it made its escape, either out the cellar door or up the chimney. The appearance is often described as a kangaroo-like creature with the face of a horse, the head of a dog, bat-like wings, horns, and a tail. This over 250-year-old creature comes with different recountings of their exploits. Many believe that the devil has caused their crops to fail, cows to stop giving milk, and droughts. Even more far-fetched tales claim the creature has blown the tops off of trees and even boiled streams. Some believe it comes every 7 years. Others believe he foreshadows disaster or foretold of war. And for the record, almost all of this information that we have comes from .gov web domains.
What? Crazy talk.
Yeah, like 80% of this comes from web domains that are .gov.
That's so... I mean... Man, I didn't look at the .govs myself, but I would have to assume that it's just like a recounting of a very popular myth, right? This just, to me, first impressions, this doesn't sound like something that could exist, you know? It doesn't sound like anything that is similar to anything that currently exists. So for this to just exist by itself, kind of crazy to think about. I believe these, the type of creature it's thought to be is a cryptid. Do you remember seeing that word?
I have seen it referred to as a cryptid, yeah. I feel like the reason why they notice features like the horse, the head of a dog, wings of a bat, they probably have seen one of those and they just assume that it was the Jersey Devil, which I learned is not the New Jersey Devil, is what I originally thought it was. The New Jersey Devils are a hockey team.
Oh, okay. And also a rapper, apparently. We found out. New Jersey Devil. He's it's spelled a little differently than you'd think, but he's out there doing stuff. So,
but
cool.
There's been some pretty prominent names of individuals who have claimed to see him. Like, these are not just run-of-the-mill, you know, think Midwest alien encounters. These are big names.
Yeah, tell me some.
Well, we've got a few on here. So, we've got Joseph Bonaparte. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because it is. Joseph Bonaparte was the brother of Napoleon Bonaparte and the former king of Naples in Spain.
Oh, wow.
He had reported to see the devil. So
I didn't know he was a king, former king.
Yeah, right. He was doing well for himself. Turns out if you've got a brother, you've got a solid reference.
Yeah,
so.
Especially if your brother's Napoleon.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is he settled in Bordentown, New Jersey in 1815, which was him seeking exile after his brother's empire had crumbled. During one of his hunting trips in the Pine Barrens, which is where the Jersey Devil resides, he had a strange feeling overtake him. From the shadows emerged a creature unlike any he had ever seen, the Jersey Devil. With eyes that glowed like coals and wings that beat the air with a sound like thunder, he stood there in terror as the creature screamed. A sound that echoed through the woods and then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Joseph Bonaparte claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil, but, you know, to be fair, maybe he wasn't super well at that point in his life.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is like, how was his mental health around this time?
Yeah, because, you know, you go from being king to living in New Jersey.
Hey, no hate to New Jersey here.
Listen, all I'm saying is maybe if you can't pump your own gas, it's because you think the Jersey Devil exists. But who else do we have? Who'd you come across?
Yeah, not quite as like notable of names, but I do have some names here. So Forest Ranger John Irwin. So you got to think somebody who could get into the position to be a forest ranger, they're going to be familiar with the forest, the creatures of the forest, you know, the different animals. They're going to know what's going on out there, right? So for him to report this sighting and be so familiar with not only the area, but the wildlife and things like that, I feel like kind of gives it a little bit more merit there. But yeah, let me read a excerpt from my source here. So, one night in December 1993, Forest Ranger John Irwin was patrolling near the Mullica River in the Wharton State Forest in his car when he encountered a strange creature standing in the middle of the road. The creature was 6 feet tall, standing upright on its hind legs with no forelimbs, and its entire body was covered with wet, matted black body hair. It had short horns on its head, and its eyes glowed red in the reflection from the car lights. Realizing that provoking this beast might result in an attack, Irwin did not move his car and waited patiently for the beast to move away. They stared at each other for a while, and then after a few minutes, the beast disappeared into the darkness of the grove. So, some explanations for this. People think maybe he could have seen a deer. Apparently, deer can appear to be strange creatures in dark environments. But you gotta think, this guy was a forest ranger. I think he's gonna know what a deer looks like. Wouldn't you say?
I absolutely hate it when 6-foot deer stand in front of my car.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, the deniers out there. But I just think the fact he was a forest ranger, like actively a forest ranger, so probably in good mental shape, he's going to know what he's looking at. Or not know what he's looking at in this case. But either way. So that is, Forest Ranger John Irwin. That is a sighting from 1993. What do you think of that one?
Well, I mean, my first thought is, I wonder if they're related to Steve Irwin, but probably not.
No, I feel like that definitely would have been, in the headline. Steve Irwin's relative. Because, if I had a big name, I would have thrown it out there. But
how horrifying. In that story, you're driving your car and you see this monster and you're like, what do I do? I mean, you throw it in reverse, I guess, and then just hope things go your way.
Yeah, apparently he just sat there because he thought any movement would provoke it, which, fair enough. But this sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. You're just driving down a dark road late at night alone, and then there's just this creature standing in the middle of the road. I mean, I don't know. If it's to be believed, that is terrifying. I would probably do what you said and throw it in reverse, Terry. You know what I mean?
For sure.
For sure. You had another pretty big name on your list, though, didn't you?
I do. I've never heard of the individual, but apparently they come with some clout. And so the story goes a little bit like this. In January 1909, there were reports from multiple eyewitnesses citing the Jersey Devil throughout South Jersey. While testing cannonballs at Hanover Mill Works in the Pine Barrens, Navy Commander Stephen Decatur supposedly saw the creature and shot it. Yeah, with a cannon. The cannonball blew a hole clean through the devil's chest, but apparently the devil wasn't fazed by the projectile. Strange tracks were found in the fields after, but bloodhounds allegedly refused to follow the tracks.
Yeah, this one is crazy. I mean, you got to think, how would it survive and not even be fazed by a cannonball through its wing, right?
What are they drinking in 1909?
If it's anything like the old Coca-Cola recipes, they had to be feeling good, whatever it was. Maybe that would explain all these crazy sightings and things. It's funny.
Sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I wish. It's funny, though, that all these sightings and everything, they're all old, right? Since the invention of smartphones, not as many sightings. That's interesting to me.
I saw some in early 2000s, so yeah, I would agree with the advent of smartphones that these have kind of tapered off. But
how interesting.
Do you have a big name?
So I don't have a big name as far as sightings go, which is what we're talking about right now. But I do have a lot of smaller names, right? So, in 1909, there was some sort of crazy event or something that happened. Over 1,000 people in South Jersey and Philadelphia claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil. Over 1,000, all within the same time period. There were sightings reported across various towns and communities, like I said, all throughout South Jersey and Philadelphia. Actually ended up leading to mass hysteria just because of the amount of reports, like the widespreadness of it all and the fear generation. Schools actually ended up closing because everybody was afraid of the Jersey Devil. So there was a lot of hysteria going on around that, and I mean that's some history right there. I'm not sure exactly, what caused. I mean, maybe it was just the Jersey Devil itself that caused all these sightings, but over 1,000 reports. People were saying that they were finding footprints in like parks, in gardens, all that sort of stuff. Pretty crazy. There was
Jersey Devil getting around like Santa Claus. Goodness.
Yeah, there's a specific example. There was a Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Evans who said they watched the creature from their home window for 10 minutes. So, I don't know. Just the fact that there is 1,000 reports in a small span of time is... There had to have been something going on,
Must have been something in the Coca-Cola.
Must have been. Must have been. What do you think? 1,000 people, though. Like, they can't all be just, like, clout chasers, which that term didn't exist back then, but you know what I'm trying to say. Right?
Ye old clout chaser. No, I agree with that. I mean, it's hard to refute it if you have that much evidence, but you're right. It's very convenient that the Jersey Devil sightings have gone down since smartphones become more prevalent.
Mm-hmm. You are right about that. And to be honest, I think the whole thing might not even be true. You want to know why?
Why is that?
There are some beliefs, maybe not even beliefs, but more so facts, that this whole story was fabricated by one Benjamin Franklin. How's that for a big name? Yeah, so apparently one of the Leeds men, they ran their own almanac, like the Farmer's Almanac. There was like a Leeds almanac, right? And Benjamin Franklin, he had his own almanac that was competing with it. And so in order to basically kill his competition off, hypothetically, the rival almanac, he made this story about Mother Leeds giving birth to this demon, this devil, in order to make people not want to buy their almanac. And it was successful, actually, because Benjamin Franklin's almanac, became very successful, and the Leeds one just kind of fell off. So that's a little bit of background I found. That sounds kind of believable. Just humans just like screwing one another over just for their own gain. Especially
Ben Franklin, of all people. Like, I mean, if you were to tell me this, Jersey Devil existed, I would be skeptical. If you were to tell me that Benjamin Franklin is the one that said that it existed, I would believe that he had made that up. Absolutely.
Especially like to screw somebody over to like just have, get his own personal gain. I mean, it makes a lot more sense. But the fact that this is such a widespread like theory or folklore or what have you is still kind of insane. I mean, it's like a part of history. Even if it's not real, it's still like a real part of history, even without the Benjamin Franklin stuff, just because it's really come up in its own right to be this crazy, urban legend.
And he's just yucking it up in his grave. He knows. He knows.
He knows what he did, for sure.
Shame on you. Shame on you, Benjamin Franklin, if you're listening.
Him and Queen Elizabeth are gonna hate this one. This is a bad episode for them.
It's a real bad look. They're down there playing playing her gold-plated Wii.
You know what? I feel like we're going too far with the spirit talk now. I don't want to upset anybody. We're all good here. We're all good here. Peace and love.
You're right.
Peace and love.
Must have just been our imagination. Nothing like that could exist here, right? As the fire draws to an eerie glow, with only the ashes left smoldering, our day comes to a close. All that stands between us and safety is the light of day. Tomorrow morning. Will we make it out of the woods alive? The fire fizzles out, leaving us encapsulated in darkness. The metaphorical curtain falling on today's show. I hope you enjoyed. We sifted through lies and deceit, found out that our hats weren't quite the treat, and hoped that a devil we did not meet. The wheel of punishment was introduced, so try your best not to lose. A lot of deception in today's episode, huh?
So much. Even more than I expected, which is what I think is what you were going for. So, good job on that. No, you really... Darren was expressing to me, talking to the listener now, he's expressing to me that he was really excited for this episode, and I see why now. You, Darren, you really crafted quite the deceptive episode here. I mean, like, man, everything was just not at all what I thought it was going to be. Which even, you know what? Even the true or false segment was not what I thought it was going to be, and even that was like a form of deception because... we'd had maybe little talks about what it could be, and then you did your own thing and didn't let me know what it was. And so I went in with one thing, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have not expected anything, because the whole premise of this episode is to expect the unexpected, and I didn't do that. So I failed.
That's right.
But the punishment wheel, great addition. We did, 3 spins today? So there are still 7 unexplored punishments on here. I'm excited to see what they're going to be. Hopefully it's Darren that's performing them, but either way, should be fun.
That will be well used. But that brings us to the part of the episode where you have a chance to participate, as if you didn't enough already today. Let us know in the comments down below. Did you succeed in the mimic encounter? Were you able to pick out any truths or lies? Let us know. But the Tavern Bounty Board presents a challenge as well for you between each episode, where you can earn some experience. This week's Tavern Bounty Board is to find one thing in your daily life that looks useful, but has completely let you down. That could be some as seen on TV products, or even a habit that you had different expectations for. And I'd say that wraps up everything nicely in a bow. Troy, will you tell them what's part of the next show?
Was that rhyme intentional right there? I have to ask.
Yes.
There we go. I love it. Yeah, I certainly will tell them what's part of the next episode. Sorry. We're going into 007, the penultimate episode. I don't think we've stated it anywhere, but season 1 is 8 episodes. So these next 2 after this, big things coming. Next episode specifically on Sips and Side Quest. You're going to need to make sure you stay hydrated because it's going to be hot. And
scorcher.
Not like a weird kind of hot, like temperature-wise. Like, okay, the theme is fire. It's like a fire. It's a fire theme, right? Literally and figuratively. So, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on our socials at Sips and Side Quest to be notified when our next release lands. To find out more, leave a comment to let us know how we're doing, and drop a like for some easy experience points. This has been Troy,
and this has been Darren. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you right back here next time for yet another adventure.